Dear students, welcome to 17th and 18th session. So in this session, we will discuss the techniques or elements of scientific management. So from the last two sessions, the introductory concept of scientific management as well as the principles of scientific management we discussed. So the techniques are nothing but how the principles can be implemented. So that is experimented by F.W. Taylor. So he conducted various experiments at the workplace to find out the human beings could be made more efficient by standardizing the work environment or standardizing the business process, especially the working environment or the machineries or raw materials. So the business activities or business process will be standardized. So as I told in the previous session, we discussed about the principles of scientific management as well as the application part also. So in this session, you will be able to understand the various techniques or elements of scientific management as well as how this particular technique will had the impact on the modern management as well as ultimate what are the products of the scientific management. So as per the principles of management book written by F.W. Taylor, in page number 129 and 130, he focused on the elements or the techniques of scientific management. So he told that it is nothing but the extension of the four fundamental principles. It may be development of a true science or scientific selection of the workers, the scientific education, the training, development of workers, as well as a cooperation between the management and the employees. So based on these fundamental principles, he developed the techniques or the elements. So we will discuss one by one in detail. The first one is the scientific task setting. So in this technique, well in advance, the manager have to decide the output so that the employee's performance can be evaluated. So he focused that fair day's work. So by using this technique, employees will complete the task according to the standard given, as well as management can also keep a proper control on the optimum utilization of the workforce. So the main intention of the F.W. Taylor scientific management is there should be an optimum utilization of the resources, as well as you should focus on the performance of the employees. So fair day's work means you have to multiply the standard time with the working hours. Means what is the standard time required to perform that particular task, and what is the daily working hours, so that you can track on the employees' movement, track on their performance. So ultimately you can decide their output or the productivity. The second very important technique is work study. So it will contain 4 main elements. So work study basically is nothing but a systematic assessment of the various operations in the enterprise. In that first one is method study. Method study is nothing but, as per the scientific management definition, finding the one best way of doing a particular job. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಮೆಷಿನರಿಗಳ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಮಾಡುವಂತದ ಅಥವಾ ಕಾರ್ಮಿಕರನ್ನು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಿ ನಾವು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುವಂತದ ಸೊ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿರ್ಧರಿಸಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ದರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ a proper method study, it will reduce the distance traveled by the materials, or you can bring improvement in handling, inspection, as well as storage of the materials. And the second study is about the movement or motion study. So when there will be a proper motion study, so you can eliminate the unnecessary movement and you can save a lot of time. So it is concerned with study of the optimal movement for an operator as well as for the machineries. Actually, in the production and operation management, there is one technique called critical path method. So in that technique, they are finding the one best way of doing a particular job as well as with the minimum movement. Next, about deciding the time, that's called as time study. So how much time is required to complete a particular task? So you have to fix that. ಸೊ ಸಮಯದ ಒಂದು ಸಮೀಕ್ಷೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬನಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಶರ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಹೊಲಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಮಯ ಬೇಕು? ಸೊ ಹೌ ಮಚ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಹಿ ವಿಲ್ ಟೇಕ್? So that should be fixed well in advance. For example, if a worker will take or worker can manufacture one shirt within 2 hours, and he work for 8 hours in a particular day, so that he can produce 4 shirts per day, so that when you can get any order, so you can decide how much manpower will be required and how much worker you can require on the basis of the time study. And ultimately, another study about the interval or break, that is called as a fatigue study. So employees, you know that they're not machineries, and you can't expect the workers to work for continuous 8 or 10 or 12 hours. So they need some kind of a break, they need some kind of an interval. So when you will give some interval or break, definitely it will improve the efficiency of worker. Nowadays, I think all the MNCs or the companies are giving 3 or 4 times intervals in the work schedule, so that employees can relax, and when they again back to the work, so they can do that particular task in a much interesting manner. So that's why fatigue study or deciding the interval time is very important. So these 4 elements are coming under work study. Another technique in the scientific management is standardization as well as simplification. So standardization is nothing but, so you are bringing the standard in all the business activities. So as I told in the initial slide or initial discussion, so for the factory there should be some kind of a standard for raw materials or for product or for methods or for machineries or for working environment. So when there will be a standardization, definitely you can reduce your cost, you can save a lot of time. So like companies like Microsoft or Nokia, so many companies, they adopted this standard manufacturing process. So definitely it will ensure the quality as well as you can give that assurity about the performance of the machineries as well as the workers. In the same manner, there will be a simplification of things. Means it will eliminate superfluous varieties or sizes or dimensions. So when you fix a one particular standard and when you have a one product line, so there will be no requirement of much machineries. So when you have more product in your product line or when you go for a diversified business, so definitely it will demand more machineries, more methods. So there will be a simplification of the requirements can be done in the organization. So it will result in saving the cost of labor or again machine or tools. So when there will be a simplification of the process, so definitely the company will get huge share of profit in the market. This technique is already covered in the principles of scientific management. A perfect cooperation between the management and the workers, or maybe change in the mindset or attitude of the management and workers. This is called as mental revolution. So here both the party, they have to share the gain of their profit. So whenever I think the company will get super profit ಅಂದ್ರೆ an expectation ಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ profit company achieve ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, so that profit or gain should be shared with the workers or they have to be given bonus, so that again there will be a higher productivity. So because of the mental revolution, so there will be a tremendous shift in the mindset of the employees towards the management and vice versa. And next technique is management by exception. Means separation of planning and execution. So here the focus of scientific management is actually on the supervisory level or on the operation level, we can say. So Taylor focused that the routine function should be left to the middle and the lower level management personnel. And at the same time, the top level management should concentrate on very important decision. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ದಿನನಿತ್ಯದ ಅಥವಾ ರುಟೀನ್ ಆದ ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ನಿರ್ಧಾರಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕೆಳಸ್ತರದ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳಿಗೆ ನೀಡುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಮೇಲ್ಸ್ತರದ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥಾಪನೆಯವರು ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ಒಂದು ನಿರ್ಧಾರವನ್ನು ಮಾತ್ರ ಕೈಗೊಳ್ಳಬೇಕು. And motivating the employees in a very well manner. So here there is one technique called differential piece rate system. So one of the main technique of scientific management, ಕೆಲಸದ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಮಾಣಕ್ಕೆ ಅನುಗುಣವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ವೇತನವನ್ನು ಪಾವತಿ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು. So definitely when there will be a differential wage system, it will bifurcate efficient and inefficient worker. So this differential wage payment can be explained with the help of an example. For example, in the Narmada Limited, they are giving 2 rupees per piece to a worker if he exceeds his production or his output, or he will produce about 25 units per day. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ವರ್ಕರ್ 25 ಅಥವಾ 25ಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಅವನು ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಸೊ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಪ್ರತಿ ಯೂನಿಟ್ಗೆ 2 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ವೇಜ್ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. In the same manner, if any worker will produce less than 25, he will get only 1.50 per unit. So continuing that example, for example, a worker who is producing 24 units, he is eligible to get only 36 rupees. That means 24 into 1.50. Whereas if a worker producing 25 units, based on that condition, he is getting 50 rupees. So because of 1 unit, so there is a difference of nearly 14 rupees. So it will motivate definitely the workers to produce more, to give competition, or to enhance the competitive spirit in the workers, as well as this will be one kind of a threat to the inefficient workers. So it will clearly bifurcate the efficient and inefficient workers in the organization. So a proper reward management is discussed here on the basis of the work study method. And the last technique is planning the task. It's just a continuation of the separation of planning and execution. ಸೊ ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಾತ್ಮಕವಾದ ಒಂದು ಮೇಲ್ವಿಚಾರಣೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಸೊ in organization there will be a factory manager. So factory manager is not possible to have all the abilities or all the skills. It may be honesty or education or energy or a special knowledge or a good health. So that's why there is a requirement of some assistants to segregate the work. So because of that, a concept called functional foremanship was introduced. And this is mainly focusing on the shop level. So under the functional foremanship, so there will be a total 8 foremans under the supervision of one factory manager who has the bird eye view of all the operations. So as I told, for one single manager, it's very difficult to look after all the operations. So under the functional foremanship, so total 8 foremans they appointed. In that 4 foremans they are allotted for the planning function and remaining 4 for the execution function or production function. So in this image, we can see that in the first layer there will be a factory manager. Under him there is 2 heads, means there is a 2 division, planning in charge persons and production in charge persons. So planning in charge, they are basically clerks, instruction card clerk, route clerk, time and cost clerk, and disciplinarian. Under the production in charge, they are giving instruction. Ultimately, they are getting the work. So we are saying them as a boss, speed, gang, repair boss, as well as the inspector. So now we will go through the role or functions of each foreman one by one. So under the planning division, the first clerk is instruction card clerk. So what is his role? Instruction, as you know, that giving the direction. So he will draft the instruction for the workers so that the workers will get clear picture about their work. So there will be no confusion among the workers. So he will prepare all the instructions and he will allocate the proper duties, responsibilities to the worker. The next one is route clerk. So he is responsible for designing the sequence of operation. So we will determine in which route the machineries or maybe the workers should pass. Next, time and cost clerk. So this clerk will decide the standard time required for the completion of a particular project, as well as he will prepare the budget to estimate the cost of that particular operation. And last one, disciplinarian. He will see that whether the rules, regulations, whether it is followed, and orderly performance of all the factory jobs. So these 4 clerks are coming under the planning division. Now we will go through the production foremans. So here we are having speed boss. He will see that whether the employees, they are working in a proper speed, so timely they can finish their particular given task without any delays or minimizing the delays. Next, gang boss will be there. He is responsible for arrangement of all the tools, equipments, so that everything is ready for the worker when they are coming to the actual workplace. Next, there will be repair boss. You know that always in the factory, the maintenance is very important. Otherwise, there will be a loss of time or maybe manpower. So he ensures that proper maintenance of the machineries, tools, and maintains the overall work worthiness of the factory. And last one, the inspector. He will ensure that all the things are happening in a right direction, workers are following all the instruction, and finally he will ensure the quality of the product. So ultimately, the evolution of management, we can say that started from the civilization period, but lot of improvement, refinement is happened year by year. So ultimately, the scientific management give the foundation for many techniques, and many companies at present they are following scientific management in their shop level or in their operational level. So there are many concepts like lean manufacturing or just-in-time technique or Kaizen. It may be called as a continuous improvement or Six Sigma concept. So all these are new concept is emerged only because of the scientific management. So scientific management principles, how these principles are implemented is explained through the techniques. So kindly go through the following references. Thank you.